Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Nong, Artistic Director of Viet Film Fest, and you have just watched the short film set, But Not For Me, on our virtual platform. And as promised, we have a special Q&A panel here with some of the filmmakers who made the films that you just saw. And now I wanted to let them introduce themselves, starting with Chow and Jack of Endorphins.
Hi everyone, I'm Chow and I'm the director of Endorphins.
And I'm Jack, the art director of Endorphins.
Hien.
Hi, I'm Hien Nguyen. I'm the director of Everything Belongs to You. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm the director of Phở Succession movie. Hi.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Kelly Liu. I'm co-writer and co-director of Technicians.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Liu, co-writer and co-director of Technicians.
Thank you all for being here today. I do need to make a note of two films that are not represented today. That would be The Little Shopping Trolley and Broken Being prequel. We wanted to send our best to Lawrence Lee and the team over at DD Animation Studio out in Vietnam. And we thank them for submitting their films today as well. And I would like to thank they're with us here in spirit. I wanted to start off with a group question, one that applies to everyone. And I was wondering, how is your film a reflection of the life you lead, whether on a personal or a communal level? And let's go in the order that we just went in when we introduced ourselves.
Well, for me, my protagonist is a very quiet and very introspective man, and so I think what we have in common is just that if there's any problem like that, I think from my culture, from where I am, from how I grew up, just like to deal with issues, like emotional issues, just by myself rather than with other people. Like I still talk to other people, but especially coming from an Asian culture where you're not supposed to be bothering other people of how you feel and stuff like that. And so I think in that part, yeah, it's very similar.
Hien?
I would say everything shown in the movie or the film closely mirrors my own life, whether it's like the thoughts or emotions or like being picked up from my dad at the train station when I'm visiting my parents. These things are very similar to my life, and it's only started like a few years ago when I truly started to explore my roots of being Vietnamese, and the film really served as a catalyst of this journey of finding out what my origin or my background is. And I'm still at the beginning of this phase, and yeah, that's it.
Sebastian, your turn.
Yes. This experience is, I'm not Vietnamese, but I have a lot of Vietnamese friends, a lot in Paris. I love Vietnamese culture, and I love pho. So I want to make a movie about pho, and this year we have a French festival. It's first time we have a lot of, we have 10 Vietnamese filmmakers to participate this Nikon Film Festival. It's in a big festival, the biggest Film Festival in Paris. And every Vietnamese filmmaker make a movie about pho, soup. And I did it too. I'm Cambodian and Chinese, but I want to do it like them. So because I love Vietnamese culture, so we participate, and I want to try make a movie about transmission, about a master and a student and old guy and the young people transmission about in Vietnamese culture. That's it. Well,
So for Technicians, Technicians for us was just a very personal film. It deals with a lot of big topics like automation and the future of work, but at its core, it's really just a human story. And I think that's the part of me and Kelly that we were excited to sort of express through our film. And it was something that our parents have really ingrained in us since like a very young age, which is to be, concerned of others, considerate of others, and to have that empathy for others. So we wanted to tell this story between two strangers just meeting each other and getting to know each other, but also having an understanding that they're both a lot more alike than they think.
Yeah. And I want to speak quickly about the vulnerability. Like, I feel like as artists, the most we can do is put our vulnerabilities out there, and it's the hardest thing to do. So we felt like with this film, putting it on this personal level, and our mom being a nail technician, our most of our family are nail technicians. So we really related to this idea of having this person who's willing to fight for something that represents a piece of her identity. And for us, it was, it was an interesting process, of course, but it was all about getting that vulnerability out there and seeing how people react to it. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you all. Using the same order we just used once more, what was the most significant thing you learned about filmmaking while making your movie?
For Endorphins, this is like our first film ever. So I think there was a lot of like technical stuff we learned about filmmaking and just like a lot. But I think the most important thing for me is just like learning how to work with other people and like seeing how much that can elevate your film, just like collaborating. For animation, from school we learn how to like do everything by yourself, and so I think able to collaborate with other people and other ideas and just it really helped. Yeah.
Jack, did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I guess I would say the same thing. It's a very shared sentiment of the whole film. Was just like it started out where we have all this experience working alone, and then all of a sudden we have to talk about how we feel together rather than how we feel individually. That you have to help other people figure out what they need and what they need to figure out their emotions. Because I mean, for Chow's direction, like I just wanted to make sure that I was following her emotions of the film and like what she wanted out of it, and I felt like I was like a translator from her emotions in like some kind of drawing style, or I just felt like the communication was the biggest thing I learned, was just how to communicate that line through one person's idea into an image.
It's a very different proposition from a standard group project in school, right? With all those folks working on it. Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Chow. Hien.
It's also my first film, and I would say to not underestimate the post-production process or the editing process. I remember when we were shooting or after shooting, we were so motivated to edit our film, and we were saying like, oh wow, we have such great footage, so much footage that maybe it's gonna be longer than a short film, and yeah, it was not longer than a short film, and it was really hard to to estimate what it really is to make the film in the after shooting.
Thank you again, Sebastian.
Yes. For this movie, it's first time I have 75 Asian filmmaker technician in my crew, because in Paris I have an association to promote diversity in French cinema, and it's first time I have a lot of Asian guy for different country. For we have Korean people, Japan, Vietnamese people, Chinese, Cambodian, Laotian, and French, and black guy. And I learned for this movie to work together like a family. In 1 week, we prepare this movie, and 1 week to prepare it very fast, and we shoot it with a friend who was an actor. We take only friends in this movie, and I try to is it possible to make fastly a movie with good quality and with auto production, no money, and so the movie cost me just to buy a hard drive, and I have a lot of a free guy to help me, and a Vietnamese restaurant to give me food free for the crew. So I think I learned it's possible when we have a good crew, you can make a movie without problem. Yes. It's very cool.
Yeah, for our end, we really feel pretty much everyone has said, of course, and we also feel like, when you're in the thick of production, you kind of lose sight of what really matters. And I think with this film specifically, we learned about prioritizing and recognizing, what is the heart of the scene, what is the thing, like what is the most important moment of our day, in a sense. And I'm using the manicure scene as the best example of, we had so much going on. We had the salon for only 2 days. The manicure scene was shot on the second day, so we had missed stuff on the first day that ended up getting moved to the second day. It just really started piling on, and Kevin and I knew that manicure scene was the heart of the film, so we had to make sure we prioritized having the amount of time for that. And yeah, I think Robert Zemeckis said the greatest VFX shot is the close-up. So for us, that moment when we started getting to the close-ups of Kathy and Alphonse, and having their conversation when they're, being intimate and being vulnerable, that's when we knew, in the moment, everyone on the set knew, like, okay, that's going to make or break this movie. So we made sure we had the time to really tell that the way it needed to be told. But yeah, Kevin, do you have anything to add?
No, that was it. But I want to just say congrats to Zhao and Jack and Hyun, first film. I'm so impressed, and I'm really excited for y'all. I can't wait to see it.
For the record, everybody, Chow and Jack are students at California State University, Long Beach. Hyun comes to us from the Dres film workshop. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Hyun?
It's Dres So yeah, basically.
Longer E. Okay, got it. All right. Thank you for the correction on the pronunciation. I wanted to move on into individual questions for all of your films now. We're going to start in this first round in the order in which your film is presented in the set. So for those people here, Technicians is going to go first, followed by Endorphins, followed by Everything Belongs to You, and Phở Succession is last in this order. So again, we're going to the Liu brothers first here. As I just said, you're both brother filmmakers. What does your working dynamic look like, and how do you divide your responsibilities?
Oh gosh, we get asked this question all the time, and I feel like every time we have to answer, like all this anxiety comes. It's like therapy. I'm like, oh my god, okay, how much do we tell? Like, how deep do we want to go in on this?
How real do we want to get?
Yeah. No, but it's I think we're very fortunate. Kelly and I, I think we said earlier, we're twins. So we've been together our entire life. We've collaborated our entire life, right? But I think what's so unique about our circumstances, we've chosen a profession and career that relies on collaboration. So Kelly and I were very much, when we are crewing up and finding our team, we always try to find people who want to arrive at the same destination as us, but are coming at it from their own unique perspective. And I think that's sort of a great representation of how Kelly and I work. We have a lot in common, and a lot of things that we share the similar interests, but different perspectives just heading towards the same destination. Yeah. And especially in the writing phase, we're always building on top of each other, like from one idea to another. And for example, with technicians, the mother character wasn't actually a big part of the film. She was mainly backstory. And you can see in the film, she's a pivotal character now, although she's supporting, but she represents a big part of what the film is. And I remember it was Kelly who said, I really think we should have a moment where, like, David, maybe he takes home like a free sample of a nail polish, and then you get the idea that maybe when he gets home, he's going to do some self-care or something, but he's taking something from the salon with him. And that's what it was supposed to mean, like thematically, that he's learned something and he's taking it home with him. Yeah. And then I said, well, what if he took care of his mom with it? Like he did his mom's nails. And so it's just like those elements that sort of just keep building on each other. And I think it really has to do with the fact that we share the same sensibilities.
Yeah. And then on a more technical level, of course, we try our best to be as in sync as possible on set. And it's a lot of preparation. The worst case is showing up on set and someone asking us, what would you guys like? And what do you want this wall color to be? Or how do you guys want this? And we have two separate answers. And at that point, it really, it doesn't instill confidence in the team. So we do a lot of homework and a lot of like prep work for sure beforehand. But pretty much like Kevin said, we work well together.
Yeah. And then
we didn't, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's the divvying it up of things, which is always interesting because it's really project by project, sometimes even scene by scene. It'll just be like as it's moving, as it's growing organically on production, like as the cameras, even after like the first take, one of us will look at the other one and be like, oh, I think this is, I got it. I got this. Like, and they'll just arrive to it much faster. And we trust each other. So we're just like, yeah, go for it. And so one of us will step up and, go give a note to the actor, but maybe one of us gives a note to camera. So we just, we're, 9 out of 10, we're so in sync. We're kind of just moving and then we come back and we're like, yeah, you took care of that? Like, yep. And then we don't even have to say anything. We kind of already got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you both. I feel like I should apologize for asking what is a pretty much dead question to both of you by this point.
No, please don't apologize. Don't apologize. Right. It's all good. Right. No, we enjoy it. It's a great, look, we would want to know, right? If we were talking to like, I think we had a Q&A with the Rousseau brothers once. And I remember we asked that question because you just want to know. And so we don't mind answering it at all.
Got it. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kelly. Chow and Jack, up to you now. Can you both please describe what the process of animating your film was like, and in what ways does animation better display your protagonist's mental tumult than in live action?
Well, we follow a very basic pipeline of an animation, any kind of animation film, of just, okay, we have the script and then we design the character, the background, pre-program everything, and then I storyboard, and then I storyboard, and then I just leave it to him to design the character and stuff, and and then after that just race to the finish line and just animation. And how is animation better?
I feel like in comparison to live action, it feels like I saw someone drawing on a table. I would be just as interested in seeing what they're doing or what they're drawing as I would to see like a person with a camera, like taking a picture of like a tree or something. I'd be equally as invested in seeing like what perspective they have behind this wall creation that they have. And so I feel like on that level, I don't differentiate live action and animation that much, because I think as an art form, they're both equally like, you're still arranging your emotions, your feelings, your memory. But I would say that when you draw something, it's all based on what's inside of you, and it's based on what you've seen, but only as like a memory, or like something that is kind of fuzzy and not super concrete in your head. And so I feel like when you draw, it's what isn't captured in your memory that like makes it what the style is. It's what you don't remember that accentuates what specific things you do remember. And I think that specificity to your memory is probably what makes animation special, and what might bring out more of that tumult that's more specific to like one part of it. But I'm not sure fully.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
Yeah, but I feel like if Endorphin was in live action, it would feel a little bit weird.
Yeah.
So we haven't figured out the answer yet. But yeah.
I think the animation's ability to bend reality, and to have there's less of a bar to suspend your disbelief in animation, and I think that helped the subject matter of your film greatly. And again, I thank you both for your answers. I also wanted to make a mention here that Endorphins was part of a record number of animated films that applied to Viet Film Fest this year. And I know it doesn't sound very like a big number, but we had a total of 4 animated short films get into the festival this year, and that too is a record. And I'm happy that Endorphins is part of that record year for animated short films, and I hope it gets broken soon. Thank you both for thank you both for your contribution. I wanted now to head over to Everything Belongs to You. Hien, what's your relationship to the subject of the film, Yen, and how did your relationship with her change while making the movie?
So the protagonist, Yen, is also my bigger sister, and she basically forced me to sign up for this film workshop. And in a way, I paid her back by having her helping me in a film and being the protagonist. So that's my little revenge to her. But yeah, I would say we grew closer through the film, and she also really supports me to being a filmmaker, and encouraged me to sign up for universities. And she also comes to all screenings in Berlin. And yeah, in the film, she many of the experiences she shares is also my own experience. So I don't really like being in front of the camera. So I put her in front and I'm behind the camera. So that's the deal for us. And that's how, we are working.
I'm sorry, I have to ask you to elaborate here. She
Sure.
forced you to join the film workshop?
Yeah, I moved to Berlin, and I was like always at home. I didn't go outside because I didn't want to. But she was like, hey, there's a film workshop for German and Vietnamese young people. You could sign up, maybe find some friends. And I said, yeah, okay, why not? And I even pushed it back to like the last minute for my application, and luckily it went through. But yeah, that's the forcing part.
Okay, thank you, Hien. Okay, so it's not as bad as it could have been, but another note here. Everything Belongs to You is one of 7 German films appearing at Viet Film Fest this year. That is a national record for Germany. in the history of the film festival. A lot of it is thanks to the Drisum Film Workshop that Kian is a part of and has referred to earlier in this Q&A. And we thank all the participants for applying, and we congratulate those who were accepted as well. So again, a national record for German films here at Viet Film Fest. Sebastian gets a question here now. Sebastian, what inspired the story in your film?
When my friend make a movie about Phở, my last short movie is about drum movie, tragedy movie, and now I want to make a comedy. So I like movie like Karate Kid, kickboxer movie, art martial movie, Jackie Chan movie, and I want to try to make how I can make a comedy with a competition about Phở, and I try to do it. So yes, for fun with my friend, and when my crew want to do it, I say okay, we did it. Well.
Okay, we're going to go back in reverse order right now, and I was wondering, Sebastian, how does Phở Succession represent your artistic and personal growth since your previous film, which was Je suis Person, which was at the last Viet Film Fest?
Yes. For this, I work about the relationship about a old master and a young pupil student, and just I want to try to work about this relation, and I want to show another vision about this cooking competition, because just show the Vietnamese gastronomy is not only for Vietnamese people, is we so in the at the end we can see we have white people, black people to try to participate to make the Phở, because at this time at our time I think now we can see anyone to do anything, any sport. In judo, we can have a black guy to have a gold award, and so I want to show another vision about in this movie. Yes, just a modern vision. Voilà.
Right. I think it was very much of a modern vision, as you said. Sebastian, I need to ask you one more question about your film, though. When I was watching it, I was fully expecting to see all the cooking competition. May I ask why you stopped the film before the cooking competition began?
I stop it because I think it's not important to show if the hero won or not, and just let people to imagine how the movie finished, and the important is how to show this relation with the protagonist character, and so it's like a pilot of a feature movie. So I try to take it to show production if I can sell it like a feature movie. So I did like this. Yes.
Understood, Sebastian, and it is still very entertaining even without the cooking competition. So
Thank you.
credit to you there. Thank you, Sebastian. Going to Hyun again for Everything Belongs to You. as folks of Vietnamese descent, how do you and Yen address your sense of unbelonging in Germany, and how has this changed as you have grown up?
For my part, I would say that feeling of unbelonging was much stronger when I was younger than it is today, because I moved to a bigger city. I grew up in a small town, like a 20,000 people town, and it wasn't really diverse back then, and a lot of stuff I blamed it on my background, not on other factors like the society and all this stuff. And I really felt bad about being different in a way, because I wanted to fit in this white German society, and I blamed it on whether it's my language or my appearance. And yeah, but now I kind of know how to cope with these issues, because I also I'm a part of this community in Berlin. So I'm not fully not belong to anybody, but I'm belong to other people that share the same experience, the same issues. So we have each other. So that's how we deal with it, because we find groups and people that are similar to us. So the other people then don't belong to us. So that's how we address it.
And Hien, as we mentioned, your film is part of the Drisuum Film Workshop. How did Drisuum provide you support? What did making a movie within the workshop look like?
Well, we were all inexperienced when it came to filmmaking. So everyone could apply for the film workshop who was interested in filmmaking. So we had professional support through the process of the film. Before the shooting, we had like workshops at the weekends to learn the basics, do interviews with each other, and also we had like homeworks to do at home with friends or family members to interview them. And that's also how we found our protagonist, my sister, because I interviewed her at home, and yeah, we were all interested in the topic, and also her in her personality. So we chose her to be the protagonist. And while shooting, we didn't have really help from the workshop, but in the editing process and so on, we had then help from editors and the directors who made this workshop. But yeah, that's basically is we had our professional help, but we were all inexperienced.
Well, thank you, Hien, and all of you gained a lot of experience from doing this, and it really, really shows. We go to now Zhao and Jack. How did your classmates and your professors at Cal State Long Beach support you while making Endorphins?
I think while making this film in like practically like 3 months, we had to stop like doing everything else a little bit, because we had other classes, but I think there were classes that were like very understanding that we had to do this, and just let us work on the film. And so I think that was like a big help. And yeah, and being able to like teaming up with
like reached out to people that towards the end of production was like, because things shifted a lot as it went on, and like different shots had to get picked up in different ways, and it was also kind of like seeing other classmates as like people that can help us work, but we're friends with them, and it's like we're trying to navigate how to get them to help us and then not feel too pressured with them. It was really helpful to have like professors and other people around that we could just kind of like pick up along the way to help us out. Like there was a good community, I felt like.
And I know that both of you are relatively at the beginning of your filmmaking journeys, but did you have any advice for anybody out there who was interested in making animated films?
Just have fun talking with the people that you're working with. Like try and enjoy the process of making it rather than trying to execute everything in one specific way.
Yeah, it'll probably not gonna turn out like you imagine.
Right.
It could be better, it could be worse.
Yeah, you never know. And like,
you never know.
I feel like there were a lot of times where we would like talk about certain scenes or certain things that we want a certain way, and then we would just, we would have to really talk like what would work and what wouldn't work, and I felt like that was a part of what made it better.
Yeah, so I think like overall, like it's like any other form. I think just find like-minded people and really stick together and make things together. I think that's what we learned so far.
Otherwise, we're too new to know
what
advice to give.
All right, that's fair enough. Thank you both. To our technicians team, how did you both develop the relationship played by the characters played by J. Alphonse Nicholson and Kathy Bowie, and how did you determine the level of antagonism between the two during the course of the film?
Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting. I mean, the antagonism really came from the reality of their situations. We do a lot of character work. We talk about, we came up with the first character we came up was with Alphonse, so the David character, the technician, the automation technician, the person who's in charge of installing these machines that are essentially taking other people's jobs. And then we kept thinking about, what would be a good opposition for him to have. Not necessarily as protagonist, antagonist, but more like someone who is on the opposite end of that spectrum. When it goes to work and occupations, and we just thought it has to be someone who's willing to fight for it. So it was a little easier to kind of develop the characters because we knew where we wanted them to be. We knew that essentially this was going to be them talking about their hardships. It was going to be them comparing their situations. And I wouldn't even really say it was antagonism. I just think it was just the reality of where they are in their lives. And what was great was we knew eventually that they would realize that they are basically two sides of the same coin. And having that being our North Star, it was easier to kind of develop the characters to either stray away from that before we find it, or, have the breadcrumbs of them both recognizing that they're both trying to take care of people in their lives, where he's trying to take care of his mom and she's trying to take care of the older technician workers. Just little things where they both work, with their hands. He's a computer programmer at home, and we started the movie off with him and his nails, and they look filthy in a sense, and she works with her hands, and that's how she does her art. So they have so many things that are similar. And it was kind of knowing those things, it was a lot easier to develop that relationship and that level of antagonism in a sense. Kevin, I don't know if you want to add anything.
No, I don't. No, that was great. That's great. No notes. No notes.
No, that's how it goes, everyone.
Yeah. And then final individual question for any of the films goes to, again, the Liu brothers again. Yeah. How seriously do both of you take the threat of artificial intelligence to replace jobs at hair and nail salons, or do you think that threat is, for the time being, rather fanciful?
So on a very real level, So, our film deals with automation. It deals with machines that are doing the jobs of nail technicians, right? There are machines out there that do it. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's there. It's in Targets. You show up. I think it costs like $10. You put your hand in. 5 minutes later, it paints your nails. It's crazy. I just feel like on a very real level that technology will grow more in the future. So in that sense, we just hope people will choose human connection over convenience. But that was essentially kind of one of the big themes we wanted to show with our film, is that the technology is amazing. It's not like we're saying, like, the fact that you can do so many things with AI and automation, it's fantastic, but it's really kind of like at what cost. And so we didn't want to stray away from that in our film. But on a more thematic level, this is essentially a film about connection, about the things we miss out on when we choose to do self-checkout instead of regular checkout, where you have a chance to interact with someone. One of the best experiences I remember having, I was going to get a ticket validated and the machine wasn't working. So I go to the person, I said, hey, can I get this validation? She said, oh, you need validation? I was like, yes. She takes it and she says, everything you're doing in life is perfectly fine. And this isn't a rat race, and you work at your own pace and you're going to be fine. And she stamped the validation. She goes, there's your validation. And I was mind blown. Like I just said, you have no idea what you just did. And that's an example of a human interaction that wouldn't have happened if I just went over to the machine and did my thing. So yeah, so on a very real level, yes, it's incredibly serious, especially in the nail industry. It will get even more serious as more technology gets more developed. And on a thematic level, I think it speaks bigger than the nail industry. I think it speaks more about how we as humanity want to keep this bridge of connection going. So go ahead, Kevin. You can finish it out, man.
No, that's it. That was great.
So,
That's it.
perfect.
This is how it works. I'm here to just listen to Kelly and tell him he did a good job. Gives him that validation he always needs.
I need
Clearly,
it
always
so
needs it.
bad. Thank you.
All righty. I'm going to go into our final rounds of group questions here. Now, I know this short film set to all of you had a very curious title, but not for me. It is indicative of the fact that all of your protagonists, all of your subjects were being denied something or someone, or resisting some sort of status quo. How did you come to write your characters' reactions in these moments of denial or rebellion? I wanted to start with Endorphins.
For Endorphins, I think the protagonist, because when we were in the process of making the film, me and Jack were like having a discussion about like, how should we end this? Like, why is he just like, how do we make it feel satisfying to end this? And it was just discussion between us of like, okay, you need to figure out within yourself this kind of problem. Like, you gotta reflect and like come to some sort of realization like within yourself, versus like he was having a different perspective at it, where he think the protagonist should go out and talk to people, be around people.
Yeah.
That we should show people around him. But I think that's just
It didn't feel like from character.
yeah, fundamentally because it came from me, where I grew up in a culture where it's like we don't do that. So I think that's the result of how he is in the film.
Okay, thank you both. Sebastian?
When I wrote this movie with my friend Virek, and we think about with characters the theme of survival. How when you have when you have a big problem, how can you react? And we write like this. And just I want to explore this to in this character for the hero, how she can find the solution. And so it's a thematic of survival. I explore it for this movie.
Thank you, Sebastian. And Hien, yours is a documentary, so I'm going to alter the final question. Instead of saying, how did you come to write your character's reactions in this moment of denial or rebellion, how did you decide to frame it? I think is the best way to go about it.
I would say in our film team, we were all German Vietnamese. So we also talked about how it is to being German and Vietnamese at the same time. So we have had similar experiences, and we talked a lot about this. And it was for all of us very empowering to have this dynamic, have this topics being talked about. So we wanted to put it in the film for the audience to experience the same thing that we experienced before we were even shooting. So as I mentioned earlier, I moved to Berlin, and then I began to engage more deeply with these topics. And back then I wasn't able to see all, because I was in the cycle of these issues. But now I can reflect and also see from a different perspective, and that's how I can, put it in the film.
Okay, thank you, Hien. And the Liu brothers.
For us, our characters' reactions are really based on what's at stake for each of them. It was really important for us to, I know Kelly mentioned before that our characters aren't really antagonistic towards each other, but they challenge each other. And, asking whether, like, how we came up with their reactions in these moments of denial or rebellion, we had to define what they stood to lose in those moments. So, at the beginning, when they're combating, they're challenging each other's beliefs. We have a character who's like, living in fear that he'll lose the means to take care of his mom, and so he denies and he rebels against her position. And likewise, similarly, when our nail tech is, being challenged on her views, she's also afraid of losing, something that's very dear to her, and that's the safety and stability of her coworkers and even herself. And in them challenging each other, they start recognizing they're much more similar than they thought. And when we get to the biggest rebellion, which is our lead character deciding to help out the technician and, sort of risk his job in a sense too. I think for Kelly and I, we recognized that in that moment, his stake had changed, had altered a bit. It wasn't just about whether or not he can take care of his mother. It was, our nail tech had asked him this fundamental question of, what kind of person are you? Like, what kind of person are you to do what you're about to do to us, knowing how you'll take our jobs and how you'll hurt us this way and you'll affect us this way? What kind of person are you? And so once that altered his stake, and as writers, when we realized that, we're like, okay, this is believable. This is an act, like we support this reaction from him to rebel in this way. So it was really just like everything boiled down to what was at stake.
Oh, Kelly, did you want to add?
No notes, man.
No
That
notes
was
there.
perfect.
And with that, we are essentially at time, but I wanted to very, very quickly, starting with going back the way we came with the Liu brothers first.
Mhm.
Do you have any upcoming projects you'd like the audience to know about?
We actually have a TV show that we optioned. We have a showrunner and director attached. It's a dramedy about a Vietnamese mother and daughter who are opening a nail salon in modern day Los Angeles. It's a story that's a love letter to our sister and our mom who worked together in a nail salon growing up. It's about the American dream and more like the ramifications of achieving the American dream. So it's also a story about connection. It speaks to our roots, and we're super excited about that. So fingers crossed, it really goes into like pilot stage and everything. These hopefully within a year. So yeah.
Okay, Hien.
I don't have any projects planned. Last year I was involved in another short film, which is also at a festival. But in a few weeks I will start studying at a film school. So that's where my focus is right now.
Which film school, by the way?
It's in Potsdam-Babelsberg, Konrad Wolf.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Sebastian.
This week, my producer about my last movie in the last Viet Film Fest, I Am No One. He's negotiate about with Netflix this week. Donc Netflix in July they say they are interesting to sign this in series with 10 episodes. But and my producer wait the final response answer about it. So we negotiate with Netflix about this story with Netflix. If it's not interesting, we try Disney Plus. Yes. So if it's okay, it's the first Asian series TV show in Europe, with Asian TV show in Europe about Asian diaspora in Europe and a story about all community, Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Thai. And so my producer, he's the second biggest producer in France, and they want to defend it because they believe in it, in the Asian story, and it's new. So I wait for it.
Right. Well, that sounds exciting, Sebastian.
Yeah.
And finally, our Cal State Long Beach students, Joe and Jack.
We just have a little idea for another short film in the air right now about boys
Skating,
and feeling
skateboarders.
boys feeling things.
Yeah.
And they're skating. Yeah.
We still have a semester of school left, so
Yeah.
still have to finish that out. But yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly and Kevin Liu, Jack Perry and Chao Chan, Hien Nguyen, and Sebastian Kong, whether we're coming from you from Southern California or France or Germany, we thank you for watching, but not for me, at Viet Film Fest. Viet Film Fest at home continues through October the 20th. We have many films for you to watch on our virtual platform, so please check us out there while the festival is still running. But on behalf of myself, the artistic director of Viet Film Fest, and Bruce Lee, who is leading the technical backside of this Q&A, we thank you for watching, and we hope to see you very soon at Viet Film Fest. Thank you, everybody.